So in my day-to-day conversations, one of the most common questions that I get is, Surya, anti-gravity and even Google AI Studio are amazing for building beautiful apps, but the backend always seems so hard to build. How can we easily fix that from anti-gravity? Now, I totally get it, right? You can wipe code a gorgeous front end in minutes, but then you need authentication, you need a database, you need to deploy the thing somewhere. And suddenly you're spending hours configuring stuff in different consoles. That's why today I wanted to share with you Firebase and most importantly, Firebase MCP. So you're looking at a Learning Hub app which is fully deployed on the web, which has full authentication, authorization built right into it. So for example, here, I'm going to do a sign up first. So if I click on this, it has signed me up as a new user. And I can go to Firebase and here, if I refresh, you would see that I just signed up. Now, once I'm inside this, it gives me an option to register to different types of courses. You can see that there are multiple courses over here. And right now, this is my dashboard, which is completely blank. Now, if I click on this, I can go ahead and register, let's say, for machine learning operations or ML ops and AI agents for business. So once I've enrolled, it should actually show up again in my dashboard. So you can see that these two courses are listed. Now, I'll continue here and you will see that this is a beautiful interface that it has built, right? So you can obviously provide the actual video link over here. You have the module wise description and also the course completion. And you can click on each one of these to see. And then here you have the option to look into slides and resources and Q&A, etc. Right? So obviously this is a demo application, but the key process that I wanted to show here was that it has a fully built authorization, authentication. It has a database attached to it. All of that is directly linked to Firebase. Now, the key thing here is I did not go into the Firebase console to do any of the backend configuration. And that is what I wanted to show you guys today. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain you how I was able to do that so that you guys will be able to replicate this pretty quickly on your end. All right, so let's get into it. Now, this one is looking pretty good, right? We can always polish the UI further. But what I want to showcase in this video is how incredibly easy it is to create a robust backend right here within anti-gravity. I didn't open the Firebase console once, not once. Let me show you how. And just so you know, all the opinions are my own and do not belong to my employer. All right, so let's get into it. So for those who may not be familiar, Firebase is Google's app development platform. It gives you authentication, a real-time database called Firestore, file storage, hosting, cloud functions, basically everything you need for a backend. And it has a very generous free tier, so you can build a lot without spending anything. Now, here's the thing, right? Firebase has always been powerful, but you still had to go to the Firebase console, click through the menus, enable services, copy paste the config keys, set up security rules. It works, but it's just a lot of manual steps. And that is where Firebase MCP comes in. MCP obviously stands for Model Context Protocol. And what Firebase MCP does is it gives AI agents like the one inside Antigravity direct access to over 30 Firebase tools. So instead of you going to the console and clicking through everything manually, you just tell the agent what you need and it handles the Firebase setup for you. All right, so I'm in Antigravity, and as a best practice, I usually create a workspace dedicated to the project that I'm working on. So in this case, I've created this Firebase MCP Live. Now, what we will do is just to make sure which particular Google Cloud instance we are connected to, I'm just going to click on Firebase Login, and you would see that this is the account ID which I'm connected with. So this is the Google Cloud account ID, which is mapped to Firebase as well. So it's a good idea to know that. So now that we are aware of it, I'm just going to close it. The next step here is really to click on MCP servers, and you will see that this is the list of all the MCP servers which are there. And if you just search for Firebase, you would see that the Firebase is listed over here. And all you need to do to leverage this MCP is just click on install, and it is going to install this Firebase MCP server for you, which is linked to that particular ID that we saw before, right? So in my case, it is Surya at suryakunju.com. And you would see that these are all the tools that are listed, more than 35 tools right now. So this is pretty fantastic, right? So now that we have configured the MCP server, we can start asking questions, right? So what I thought would be cool is actually show you my MCP console, and you would see that there is no project which is created over here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask this particular question, list all my Firebase projects. So you would see that it is now calling the MCP tool over here, and it should be looking at if we have any particular projects listed or not, right? I think it should be able to tell us very quickly if we have a particular project or not. There are currently no active Firebase projects associated with this. There was like a demo which I had created before, but that is now deleted. So that is the first thing I wanted to show you. Now, the second thing which we will do now is we will ask it to create a Learn Hub demo project. Now, this is where, again, what I want to show is how you can very easily create a project directly in Firebase console without getting into the console from AntiGravity because of the MCP server, right? So once we are able to do that, then we will get into more sophisticated stuff where we will actually like provide the end-to-end prompt for it to build a Learning Hub app with all the authentication, authorization, everything built leveraging Firebase. So it looks like it has completed this. What I'm going to do is do a quick refresh, and it's also saying, hey, I've updated your local environment. Would you like to add like Firestore hosting or add a web app? I definitely want to do all of that, but I want to do that while we are actually building the end-to-end app. So I'll include all of that as part of the prompt itself, right? So let me just do a quick refresh. And there you go. So you can see that this particular project is already built and we gave the command from AntiGravity. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide this detailed prompt where I'm going to say that for the Learning Hub demo project, initialize the Firebase data store and set up Firebase hosting, then build me a complete codes catalog called Learn Hub and deploy it to Firebase hosting. And I'm going to provide all of the requirements in detail, which is what the app should be doing. And then I'm also like going to add some hard-coded courses. Then I'm also going to provide like the UI design that I like. So again, all of these things need to be in the prompt. The more detailed the prompt is obviously it is going to do a much better job. So that is why I have done all of this. Now you already see that it is starting to already build. And that's again, super critical for us to understand what it is able to build. So right now we are in this particular project and it is going to build whatever we have asked for. So the idea is it should be able to do everything and just provide us with the public URL, and we should be able to look into that. So we'll give it a few seconds for it to complete, and then we will come back once it is done. All right, so it has almost reached the last stage where it is running the deploy command with Firebase deploy only hosting. So we should be able to see the result pretty quickly. So just waiting and very excited to see what the output is going to look like. All of these things without actually getting into Firebase at all. I think it does need once to get inside to create the authentication for email and login. So we'll get into that, but I want to see what it is able to create. So as always, it is going to run the test itself. And there you go. This is the login page that it has created, and it is now doing the sign up. So this is another beautiful thing about AntiGravity, which I believe all of us do understand, that it is going to automatically do the testing itself so that we are able to see if this is actually working or not. So it will only come back to us after doing a complete test and then come back to us with the final output, which is beautiful. Looks like it has completed and deployed the Learning Hub application. So if I click on this, is going to open up an actual web link, which is like an actual website, right? And what it has also done is it has gone ahead and implemented all of these things, right? So it has created like a Firebase database with 6 premium courses, authentication, browse courses, all of these different things, right? So let's see in Firebase. So this is the project, right? So if I click on this, this is definitely the authentication piece. So I believe this is where it has enabled this, but sometimes it doesn't. So you can actually go ahead and click on this, and that's about it, right? So right now there are no users which are added. So what we will do is we'll actually like test this application right now, right? To see if it is real or not. So let's click on sign up. And then here I'm going to provide this, and I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to click on sign up. And there you go. This is definitely interesting and stuff that I wanted. I can click on this and I see, okay, this is a user which is already here. I can go ahead and click on enroll now and enrolled. And if I can click on my learning, it should show me the particular like modules which I'm enrolled with. So you're able to see that all of these are created for me just right out of the gate. And I didn't have to actually go to Firebase. It also created the app. So I didn't have to go into this. Generally speaking, like you will have to go and use all of these things and then come back and run this.
in your IDE. But in this case, we were able to get all of this right built out of the gate, right? So now I'm able to just sign in because I already have my credentials there. And I used 12345, so I do understand why it asks me to change that password. But then the idea was to show you guys how you can very easily and very quickly build the backend because of the Firebase MCP server directly connected to AntiGravity. Great job. And obviously, you can continue to add more functionality by just chatting with it, but it does a fantastic job and you're able to build this backend pretty quickly.
So let's step back for a second. This isn't just about building a course catalog, right? This is about what happens when your AI development agent has direct access to your backend infrastructure. Today, a lot of people are wipe coding front ends, and that's great. But the backend has been this wall that you still had to climb manually. Firebase MCP basically removes that wall. And here's what I think is really interesting, especially for enterprise teams. Think about a new developer joining your team, right? Instead of spending 2 days learning the Firebase console and figuring out how to configure everything, they open Antigravity, the MCP server is already configured, and they can start building and building through natural language from day one. That's a pretty significant shift in how we onboard developers and how we think about the backend configuration. Now, the MCP server has over 30 tools. We used project creation, auth setup, Firebase configuration, and deployment today, but you can pull Crashlytics reports, manage cloud functions, update security rules, configure remote config. There's a lot more that you can do here. And that's going to be a whole another video. Let me know in the comment section if you're interested in me talking through some of those advanced tools which are available in Firebase. So that was something which I really wanted to share with you guys today. We took a single prompt inside Antigravity, used Firebase MCP to handle the entire backend setup, authentication, database, security rules, deployment, and we built a fully working course catalog app without ever opening the Firebase console, or maybe just once. I'll put all the links in the description, anti-gravity, Firebase MCP setup instructions, and exact prompt that I use so you can try it yourself. Now, I'm very curious, what would you build with Firebase MCP? Please drop that in the comment section. I'll be very interested to see your ideas. And of course, if you're new here, please do hit that subscribe button if you're interested in getting more enterprise AI tutorials like this. And if you like the video, please hit that like button as well. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.